UIM Class 1 World Championship moves on to Italy and the resort town of Nettuno, a town steeped in classical Italian heritage. Nettuno, King of the Sea, still overlooks the town they named after him, where generations of seafarers have come and gone, and where the old city walls and castle bear witness to the many times they've repulsed raiders from the sea. This weekend, though, the castle welcomes some new kings of the sea, as they prepare for what the gods and this part of the Mediterranean might have in store for them. The modern marina facility, set against the old town, provides the perfect facility for the tour at this very important halfway point in the season, which, from 4 races so far, has produced 3 different winners, developing the championship into a titanic struggle where any of 5 boats still stake their claim to the title. Technically, the Lamborghini petrol engines have dominated so far this season, overpowering the new generation of C-Tech diesels in the engine wars. But this could be a turning point in the championship. Massimo Lippi and Jolly Motor said it was his dream to win a Class 1 race. That dream came true at the last round in Turkey. Can he and Lamberto Leone do it again here? Bjorn Jelsten in Spirit of Norway has 2 wins, a third and a second in Turkey. Can he and Steve Curtis hold on to that championship lead? Carl van Hareb demonstrated the potential of the new Michael Peter designed boat in Turkey with a third. Can they do better than that here? Eduardo Poli, a Class 1 stalwart, undoubtedly runs the fastest boat on the circuit with defending champion Leif Ferron. But can Bilba make it stick this time? Lots of questions to be answered, but not before a typical Italian welcome. And crowds out in force again to support the teams as they get down to the first business of the weekend, the pole position competition. 2 runs over a timed flying kilo, giving the crews a chance for a final shakedown and to assess conditions. Jolly Motor takes it relatively easy, but as a local hero who knows these waters so well, perhaps Lippi has an advantage to come. It's great having everyone behind me locally. They're so enthusiastic, but I'm under pressure to live up to their expectations. It's like having them in the boat with me. It's true, we've lacked reliability this season, but it's so important to get a feeling for the boat. Having had last season off racing, it's taken a while to get used to the boat and to be finally running now at 100%. Bjorn Jelsten and Steve Curtis, in Spirit of Norway, know that just sticking to the same practice routine will work. A good run in a lumpy pole position, but is this the sort of performance that's going to be relevant to the race?
Well, I think what's important tomorrow is that obviously if it's going to be rough out there, everybody tends to run too big of a prop because they are afraid of losing top speed. I think most of the races are not won on top speed, it's won on the overall performance in the bends and in the start, etc. We are doing small changes every time, you know, being set up, being propeller changes, rudders, and attitude of the boat, working on engines and a lot of small things. I think on a rough day, it's more up to the pilots in the boat than almost the boat.
American Randy Sissom throttles alongside Ali Nasser in Victory 7, the only Victory boat to win so far this season. Third in the championship at this stage, but getting caught out here in pole.
It was a little bit rough. We caught one and kind of stuffed the left corner a little bit, so we'll pull it out and check everything. And we had a couple problems this morning. We had an electrical problem. We got that sorted out, and this time we just had a little handling problem we're going to work on overnight.
Carl van Hareb runs the latest specification offering from the Victory team. A new boat still bedding in only its 3rd race. With what looked like a pole position run full of confidence, what would be their tactics for the race?
So we are very happy with the boat handling and the boat speed. We are looking forward for the race tomorrow. We will try, just to do like to push it to the maximum tomorrow, because it's gonna be our chance, just to shorten the gap between us and the leader. And tomorrow's will be like depends on the selection of the props. If the sea stay like this, it will be very hard to decide which props you're gonna put on. But the lucky or the winner tomorrow will be gonna select the right props for the sea condition.
With Welshman Ken Thorne's new boat this season, reliability was bound to be the first challenge. But aggressive driving doesn't seem to be a problem.
Good run, a little bit ahead in the very last one. We sort of left the water at a great height, and luckily we came down on the right side up.
Tell us, what were you thinking then?
Oh, just thinking hopefully it lasts out until we can race tomorrow to have a go. It's on Matteo's home ground. We've yet to prove ourselves. We haven't had a good season so far this year, and we hope that we're going to get a good one tomorrow.
The man in the left-hand seat of Bilbao, Eduardo Poli, coming back with his second run to take his 5th pole position of the year. But still only one race finish. Everyone still fears the day, though, when that speed might be coupled with race reliability.
I mean, I think we're still on the right track. I think that new developments, of course, you always pay a price for them. I did it 10 years ago with gearboxes, and I'm doing it now again with gearboxes. And maybe turbines and so on. But I still think it's a good choice. It's eventually we're going to pull it out.
We've come a long way, and I think, all the, let's say, the gremlins we've had all at the beginning of the season, we've been slowly but, meticulously worked each one of them out. So we are, in a good position tomorrow to be able up there, with all the other leaders, and hopefully, we can take the monkey off our back.
Summing up the runs then for the top 5, and great encouragement for Thorne and Nicolini. If these conditions remain, this could be their chance to shine. But when you appreciate these boats are capable of 150 miles an hour on water, you start to appreciate the difference the conditions are making. Poli's winning speed of only 109.62 miles an hour, sufficient though to give him a perfect score and make him uncatchable in this speed sprint trophy. 3 teams then with something to celebrate at the end of day 1. But it's not over for everyone. Repairs and checks to hulls, drives and engines are only just beginning. Late into the night, the Spirit of Norway crew change engines. Professional precaution or a potential problem? We'll soon find out. Everyone expected a rough race, but an overnight hurricane has made conditions worse than anyone expected. And the organisers have been forced to call a weather briefing to announce a new course. Instead of the planned original 10 laps, covering 124.5 nautical miles, taking the teams close to shore, they've had to turn to the backup of a simplified storm course oval, avoiding the treacherous swells and waves now pounding the shoreline. But just testing in these conditions has brought troubles already for the championship leaders. Throttleman Steve Curtis in serious mood. A crack somewhere at the rear of the boat has now given his crew a race against time to even make the start. But also a day with a difference on Victory 5, as crew chief Henry Simon substitutes for Saeed Al-Taher in the driving seat.
Well, it was like a dream come true for me. I mean, I've been dying to race not only in Class 1, but race with Felix, and it happened. Sorry for, Saeed's, messing up the race, but the reason Saeed's not here, he's not recuperated completely, and I'm just trying to fill in there for him, and we'll do our best today.
But now it's proving time as we pick up with race commentator Tony Delahunty.
So despite the conditions which were worsening, it gets underway in Nettuno round 5 of the World Championship. And they're very pleased to get it underway at all. And underway too is Spirit of Norway. They've got to take it a little bit easily after the problems that they had earlier with the leaking hull. But while the championship leaders Curtis and Jouston can bide their time, Bilber and Victory 4 battle it out up front. But the conditions are certainly not easy. This is the Caesar Marine craft of Ken Thorne and Matteo Niccolini. They're trying to cope with gale force winds, gusting to force 9 at times. They're powered by a Seatec diesel. Lamborghini power, though, has these two up there right at the front. The Bilber boat has dropped back, but Spirit of Norway are now gathering confidence. Up to is the Jolly Motor, and look wide on the right-hand side. That's the fast line through there. Bilber is fighting back. Victory 5, though, they have the lead to the two Victory boats up there at the front. 4 and 5 going together. And Felix Sorales making good use of the joint power of the Lamborghini engines. And good race tactics showing here in the chasing pack. Bilber's making space and making it on the outside past Jolly Motor and Caesar Marine. Spirit of Norway chases after the two Victory boats. Taking the tighter line on the inside was Victory 5. But Victory 4 looking for smoother water, and Kalfan Harib has his say. He's the throttle man. And he draws up level 2. Let's go aboard with the world champion of 1993. And that's Sorales on the throttle. Henry Simon is the driver. Look how he has to ride the waves. At times is about 3 meters high, and it's not easy. But it's not too easy either to try and catch them up. Spirit of Norway are doing their best to do just that. They have a 17-point lead going into this round. Curtis and Jouston know they've got to try and keep that if they can. But meanwhile, it's Kalfan Harib with the Victory 4 that has the lead. And at this end of the course, the weather is at its worst. All important to ride the throttle just right as they come up to make the turn. But the Victory boats dominate, 4 leads from Victory 5. And Spirit of Norway is not too far behind in 3rd place. But the conditions here are very bad indeed. It's like peering into the eye of a storm and having no windscreen wipers to be able to see your way through it. "14 laps remain. And there's Jolly Motor, and not too far behind in its wake, it's Caesar Marine. But still at the front, no real problems for Kalfan Harib. But he knows he's got to keep it together. This isn't a sprint, it's a maritime marathon. For the moment, race tactics are minimal. Until perhaps lap 13, it's going to be a race for survival.
First casualty of the race, once again, Bilber, but a philosophical Eduardo Poli.
Nothing. I didn't break anything this time. Just one engine went into neutral. That's all.
What's the conditions like? Do you think it was
Nice.
rough?
No, it was nice.
What
Nice.
caused the engine to go to neutral?
No, the computer.
Not everyone agreed with Poli's view on conditions, as Australia's bruised and battered Bill Barry Cotter limped home.
There never should have been a race. We go around there as slow as we could go because of the way the boat's built. Hit a bit of water, all it was a bit of water because nobody should be racing out there. And break the boat. Boat's filling up with water. The boat's repairable, of course it is. But so is every other boat that's going to come in here this afternoon all damaged.
Also out in the early stages, Maurizio Sestgin and Giovanni Giorgi, giving giving up the fight in immersion. But everyone else is adapting to the roughest race of the year. These aren't the greatest racing conditions, but this was going to be about endurance and keeping going. Slow but sure was the view of the Sickler crew. Mancini and Gualdambrini determined to pick up points for the European Class 1 title. Same tactics too for Simone and Dionisio in Nastro Azzurro, proving themselves more reliable in these conditions than the flatter races of the season so far. They've only finished one race, but on target here for a 7th place and 4 valuable points. And as the crews counted down painful laps one by one, it was clear who was suffering. Lippi and Leone averaging only 56.76 miles an hour now. Some things up, but obviously determined to keep championship hopes alive. Thorne and Nicolini pushing on, but they started to slip back to around 60 miles an hour top speed. That thanks to a steering failure, but still pushing on as best they could. The team taking advantage of the failing Jolly Motor and Cesar Marine were victory 7. Sism and Nasser making no great headway themselves, but with an average speed of 66.17 miles an hour, just edging away into 4th place. But 3 boats were still in contention as we pick up on the race commentary for the closing stages.
Well, victory 4 is away, but victory 5 in 2nd place, and there's going to be quite a battle on here because the championship leaders, Spirit of Norway, are really giving it some. They're in 3rd place, and victory 5 know they're up against it. Let's go aboard. We are there with Serrales, and he's having to work the throttle, although conditions are quite considerably better than they were early on. And look at Spirit of Norway now, trying to make up that. Maybe they've got a little bit more confidence now it's got to the flatter water, because of course in their minds in the early part of this race will be that leak in the hull that was repaired. And really victory 5 coming up against it now, as Spirit of Norway clearly on a mission. And just edging into the front. And still though, Serrales will be very keen to come back. Spirit of Norway will maintain the lead of the championship, even finishing in 2nd, or for that matter, finishing in 3rd place. They won't get the victory, because victory 4 looks certain to get that. And now they're coming up on Jolly Motor, to lap Jolly Motor, and that will be great joy for the Spirit of Norway team. Steve Curtis knows, as he navigates past Jolly Motor, that they beat him in the last round, and that is very good for championship points. But still, in the mirrors they will see through the spray that throttleman Felix Serrales is really trying to pull back up with them. Round the mark they go. Serrales trying to get closer, but not yet quite close enough. Certainly a lot calmer than it was earlier on, and that to the advantage of Spirit of Norway. But my goodness, I can tell you there they are in sight now, that they've fought back with a victory 5, so this could go either way for 2nd spot, and it'll be very, very important for either of these teams to try and get those 2nd positions. Championship points all important, and in fact Serrales has taken the lead. Oh, by a whisker you might say, and we're on board again with Serrales. Trying to work that, water's definitely sprayed up there. I wonder if there's some form of leak in and whether they will have to ease back, but they're not for the moment. It's nip and tuck, but maybe they are doing, because Spirit of Norway has got about 1 length of boat's lead. Still coming up past back markers there, but we'll concentrate on the main event. And although victory 4 with Kalfan Harib at the throttle is clearly the leader, it's Spirit of Norway winning this battle for 2nd place. We've certainly seen some entertaining racing down the field here, but there is the leader, and it looks almost certain now that the first 3 places will be taken by Lamborghini powered boats, and Kalfan Harib is going to have the victory here in Italy. And one person who will certainly be delighted with the designer of the boat, Michael Peters. In 2nd place, yes, they get that 2nd place after looking at one stage that they might not even compete in the Italian Grand Prix. And look at those two coming home. They're going to be very pleased actually with that 3rd place, particularly Henry Simon, being congratulated there by Felix Serrales. It's the first time Simon's finished with a podium position. But victory's what counts. Kalfan Harib then the throttleman, Mohamed Al Gaif the driver, and those two are the winners of the Italian Grand Prix.
Yelshton and Curtis then, showing how determined they are going to be to hang on to that championship lead. Best result of the year for Thorne and Nicolini in 5th, but the 3rd place of Sorales and Simon increasing the pressure on the leaders after a real test of man and machine.
Talk us a little bit about the race.
It was really rough, like you could see. We had a really good start. The setup was working really well, and Henry was doing a magnificent job finding the buoys and turning them in those real big waves. We were really having a good time.
Well, tell us, Henry, you've had a dose of what racing's all about. Is Saeed able to come back in his seat?
Oh, certainly. I mean, this is for him, and you know, when you're a relief pitcher, you always want the starter in there.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Saeed, #1.
But it's their teammates who are celebrating the new boat's first win.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my crew. They put a lot of work, time in the boat, and we've been testing the boat lately, and just trying to tune it up. I think the boat since last race we just worked on it a lot, and it paid. Today we have a very good boat, and there is more rooms, just to do some improvement in the boat.
So something still to watch out for. But what a 24 hours it's been for the Spirit of Norway team. Not exactly the easiest of weekends.
Well, we had some problems with the boat before the start. We broke basically the boat, and we had to basically use common sense and finish the race. And Steve did a heck of a job out there driving the boat without using the trim tabs.
Steve, tell us about it. You're obviously a bit stressed before the race started.
Yeah, it was pretty tough because we found a crack in the back of the boat, and the crack was right where the trim tabs work from. And so, we had to make a decision whether to race or not, #1, and #2, to race without using the trim tabs, which is in this water is very difficult. Makes it ever so difficult to drive. So when you're setting up for bends, it's the bows shooting up in the air, and Bjorn was turning lock to lock. We had a really good tussle with Felix, and Henry's actually racing with him this time. So it was a good, fun race. It was a little rough.
So that's fun, is it? A remarkable performance from Curtis to get that boat home at all, never mind in 2nd place. But the same went for Massimo Lippi and Jolly Motor. Rear end boat damage, but spine and neck injuries for driver Lamberto Leone. All thanks to their determination to stay in contention. But at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, the overall championship now looks like this. Spirit of Norway still on top, but with only 36 points difference, any of the top 5 could still take the title. It's wide open as they head down to the Middle East. Will the Victory team have advantage on home waters there? Find out in our report from round 6 from Fujairah. See you there.